Well, Donald Trump has claimed that Iran has made quote-unquote real and specific threats to assassinate him in an effort to destabilize and sow chaos in the United States. The Trump campaign has released an official statement on its website saying that they fear that there is a real possibility of an assassination on the Republican candidate. There you can see that on your screens. That is the tweet that had been put out by Donald Trump and his campaign. So what does this mean? What does this mean in terms of the US elections? Does it mean that there is once again a very real possibility of more political violence that can take place? And before we get in the guests to talk more on this, let's quickly take a look at this report that tells you the background and what lies ahead as far as US elections 2024.
In the run-up to November's election in the United States, there have been 2 assassination attempts on former President Donald Trump. Shots were fired at Vice President Harris's campaign office in Arizona, and election officials are being targeted. Now, Trump's campaign has announced intelligence officials have briefed him on Iran's efforts to assassinate him. Trump has meanwhile now said that he believes Tehran will try again. Trump's campaign says that officials from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence informed them regarding real and specific threats from Iran to assassinate Trump in an effort to destabilize and sow chaos in the United States. While Google researchers released a report in August confirming that Iran-backed hackers targeted both the Trump and Biden campaigns in a phishing attack, just last week, investigators revealed that Iranian hackers sent emails to Biden's campaign associates using sensitive information stolen from Trump's campaign. Iranian officials have firmly denied any interference in US elections, but as of now, they have not provided any immediate comment on the matter. But Tehran says Washington, however, has interfered in its affairs for decades, citing events ranging from a 1953 coup against a prime minister to the 2020 killing of its military commander in a US drone strike. Meanwhile, the Republican presidential candidate also thanked Congress for unanimously approving a bill to enhance US Secret Service protections for major party presidential candidates. Parmeshwar Bava for NDTV World.
All right, let's quickly open this up to our guests this evening. The aspect that we are discussing as far as this election is concerned, can we expect more political violence in this year's election? And also the fact that those concerns regarding meddling in the American election, how much of it's real, how much of it's actually exaggerated, we'll discuss that. Ray Locker is a journalist with me on the broadcast. Also Irina joining us, she's a national security analyst from New York. We will get Omair as well in just a bit. Okay, your opening comments, both of you. Ray, let me start with you. This is an election like none other. You've had a candidate who's survived 2 assassination attempts. Threats are very real, and now he says and mentions Iran in that many words. So this is an unprecedented election, isn't it?
Oh, certainly it is, because it involves Donald Trump, which basically everything he does is unprecedented. And if he can find a new low, he will find it. I have no doubt that Iran wants to do something to Trump. After all, he was responsible for the killing of General Soleimani in 2020. They said they were going to seek revenge. So I think the threat is credible and real. But with Trump, he always hypes things involving him. So if it comes from him, you have to take it with a grain of salt. And if any of this is based on classified intelligence, the intelligence community is not going to reveal its sources. So we don't really know what is happening. But suffice to say, I think the threat is real. He's already had someone shoot at him once, another guy lurking in the bushes outside his country club, planning to do something. So yes, Trump is a very polarizing figure who is inviting people to do something about it.
Come in there. Donald Trump is a polarizing figure. He evokes sharp responses, reactions. Some say he's prone to exaggerating threats. But as things stand right now, here is a presidential nominee who's said and named Iran in that many words. So how do you view the threats that lie just about a month before an unprecedented election?
Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to add that just because Trump's style is polarizing, his comments and tactics are unacceptable or rude or even dangerous in some ways, does not excuse the meddling of foreign intelligence agencies, foreign assassins in US politics in any way, doesn't excuse any threat of violence, and does not give any justification to Iran to attack US officials or former officials, as they have repeatedly attempted to do. There were previous plots disrupted by the US intelligence. There were officials that were revealed to be part of these plots against Trump and other officials from his administration who could not be called unprofessional or in any way provocative. And I also think it's unacceptable to claim that someone who's a target of an assassination is inviting that sort of violence to himself. You can say that Trump's rhetoric.
No, nobody's hinting that. Nobody's hinting that. Let me qualify that and let me clarify it for our viewers. Nobody's for a second hinting that any of this is made up. Nobody's saying that. The question I had asked was that, do you think those threats, while being credible, could they possibly be being exaggerated? That's the word I used. But the fact that they are real, they are there, is for all of us to know, and which is why I said this is such an unprecedented election.
I think anything could in theory, be exaggerated. But knowing the history of the Islamic Republic of Iran, they're very likely ongoing and continuous, because Iran has a history of plotting revenge against its targets, those who displeased it politically, for years, if not decades to come. And Donald Trump and his staff were not the only targets of such long-term and persistent efforts.
Let's get an Omair as well on this. I'm going to come to you, Irina. Just give me like 30 seconds. Omair, how do you read these threats that are coming in? Iran has been named, and the security threat that the US election faces to ensure that it conducts its election free and fair, and those allegations and fears and threats about meddling are taken care of and addressed.
Thank you very much for having me here. I would say that to say that Iran intention to carry a candidate inside the US is extremely overstated, exaggerated.
Okay, I'm going to try and address that line with Omair in just a bit. But Ray, respond to that while the threats are credible, real, and need to be addressed and dealt with, respond to what Omair is saying, which is that they could be more than what it actually is. Is that a fair assessment, or do you think that's just politics taking over a matter of great national security and also something that sets the record for America and its elections?
Well, the fact is we don't really know what the threats are. I mean, if they come from classified sources, we don't know the details. Suffice to say, somebody has heard something, probably through NSA taps or whatever, that indicates it's a problem and it's something to be worried about. And if the Trump campaign is not taking it seriously, it should. It seems like they are taking it seriously, as should everyone. You know, an assassination of a political candidate in this country by a foreign actor would be devastating to the world order. And if Iran is definitely plotting on trying to kill Donald Trump and they succeed, and let's hope it never happens, then Iran is inviting a devastating response from the United States, regardless of who the president is. I mean, President Biden, Vice President Harris, anyone else who's in office in the United States would not stand for an attack on a U.S. political figure that's sponsored by Iran, and Iran would
Absolutely.
rue the consequences.
Absolutely. And as I said, hope that never ever happens and some of these threats are totally addressed and US conducts its elections in a free, fair manner and the world awaits the results of the 5th of November election. Unprecedented as they are, and we're going to keep coming back and addressing some of these stories and these themes in coming days. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me on this edition of US Election Watch.